Okay, hello. What really happened at OpenAI? Why does it matter? We are going to break that down in detail in this video, starting with what basically happened as an overview, which is the CEO of OpenAI. OpenAI is currently behind ChatGPT, the 100 million user plus interface for AI that most of the world uses right now. The board fired Sam Altman, the CEO of that company, and then tried to put in its own CEO. And there has been a huge shakeup in the business world within Microsoft and pretty much everywhere in tech as a result of this. And this does also have implications, I think, for the future of humanity and the direction that AI is going. So it's a pretty dramatic subject, and I wanted to make a video to explain it because I think that there are a lot of questions around what happened, and it requires a little bit of intricate knowledge of business to kind of talk through. So we're going to start off, and basically what happened is that the board of OpenAI fired the CEO, Sam Altman, and immediately after that, there was a huge chain of events. So that's basically the opening here. To understand what happened, you have to kind of understand that there are two factions within AI research, and the first one we're going to call acceleration faction. So when I say faction, I mean like there's really two sides to the AI issue, and this is simplifying, of course, but there's really two sides to the AI issue, and what's going to happen with AI, what should happen with AI. Sam Altman and Greg Brockman, who were the respective co-founders of AI, along with Ilya and some others, basically believe that progressing AI will benefit humanity at a high level. So they're saying, okay, well, we can progress this safely as long as we're like really measured and we're really controlled about its development. And then you have what's called the decel or effective altruism movement that we're going to be talking about quite a bit. And those guys basically say, well, we got to stop this. At the very minimum, we've got to halt progress, and maybe we should stop progress altogether because there is an existential threat to humanity by continuing AI research. And you can see this in this Wired article here that happened about 6 months ago. There was a huge call, including big tech guys like Elon Musk, but renowned people that are on AI systems, called for a pause on AI research and ChatGPT, just citing that it's just too dangerous. Like we're progressing too fast, and we don't understand the implications of that and what may happen. And then you have kind of Sam Altman and the other side of it that are just, let's keep going, let's keep progressing, let's see where this goes, and let's handle each problem as they come up. And I'm not going to get into like the belief systems, but just understand that these two factions exist, okay? So now if you understand that, you understand that the board of OpenAI, which is the overseeing governing body of the company that is ChatGPT, right? 100 million users, and the fastest growing tech company of all time in terms of user base, important company, $90 billion estimated valuation. The board of OpenAI was comprised of some, quote, like decel effective altruism people, notably people like Tasha and Helen, and some acceleration people like aforementioned Sam and Greg, and Ilya and Adam kind of somewhere in the middle. Okay. Adam, this is basically the board that comprises OpenAI. Now, this board was deliberately set up to have both sides so that these concerns about AI could be addressed. And Sam deliberately didn't take equity in the company and was just the operating CEO to sort of mediate both movements. So the board decides to fire Sam at random as of a few days ago of this recording, citing that he's not consistently candid in communication with the board, and so that hindered the board's ability to exercise responsibility. The actual statement is here, and I don't think we need to go into any more of it. The rest of it basically just says we're supposed to advance the mission of AI. We don't really feel like Sam was the best person to do that, and so also Greg is leaving. Now it's worth noting that Greg quit immediately on his own volition as he found this out, and notably here, just keeping in mind, Sam's firing was not Satya and Microsoft were not informed on this. Sequoia and all of the major VCs and funding was not informed on this. So this is a crazy thing, unprecedented that a company this large would not communicate with its investors. Microsoft owns 49% of OpenAI. Would not, and Sequoia and other partners own a lot too. that the board would not communicate, and they're going to fire the CEO, much less a respected CEO like Sam Altman, we'll get into in a minute, is crazy sauce. That is a nutty thing that is like, I can't remember the last time that's ever happened. Maybe like the Apple thing with Steve Jobs and stuff. It's a nutty thing. So Greg immediately quits, and then a huge number of OpenAI people immediately quit. This is something that not a lot of, wasn't covered, but the head of AI risk, Alexander, and the open source baseline researcher, Simon, a lot of the heads of respective departments within OpenAI immediately quit. Like, they didn't wait. And now the board is kind of realizing, oh, we might have made a pretty bad decision. And there's a question here, which is, I think we need to address before we move on, which is, why was he fired in the first place? A lot of people wondering that. And that's primarily a lot of the questions I got this morning before I decided to make this were about, like, why did Sam get fired? So the first thing I think we need to bring up here is that this was not planned, and that's really important in business. So it wasn't planned for a couple reasons. One, Microsoft immediately said we had 1 minute of notice. So Microsoft literally found out on X that Sam was getting fired. The investors also said that they didn't know. And all the OpenAI employees said they didn't know. And Sam himself was like, I'm blindsided by this. So it was a sudden decision. And we also know that because Sam, just a couple of days before, presented Dev Day for OpenAI. Also, he was presenting at APEC. And more importantly, Sam is a respected person within the tech space. He's a multi-billionaire, likely, and also has an incredible track record and raised OpenAI from where it is. No serious controversies. Really solid person, right? There was really no reason to fire him for some kind of on grounds of like any kind of ethical thing or whatnot. So if he wasn't fired for anything like that, then why was he fired? Well, to understand that, we have to go back to the two-faction discussion with the acceleration and decel movement. What basically happened is the decel movement won. So Sam and his team were advancing AI quickly. And at some point in the last couple of weeks, there was a disagreement over some recent breakthrough at OpenAI. We can't know what that breakthrough was, but whatever it was, it caused this deceleration people to say more or less, hey, we got to put the brakes on this and figure it out. Could have been, I mean, my most likely guess of what it was, some people were like, it's AGI, it's the robot is taking over the world. Probably not. It's probably something security related. Like, you know, worst case, maybe they found an AI that can run enough CPU cycles to break like 256 encryption. And that would be like a nightmare for like the banking system. Like, basically imagine that almost every password, it just could get broken by CPU cycles on an AI. That'd be bad, right? So maybe there's some disagreement there. Who knows what the actual issue was? But whatever it was, the board put the brakes on it, and they realized that Sam is going to progress the company in this way that they genuinely believe is a danger to humanity. And that's what the decel movement is. The decel movement, an effective altruism movement, really believes that AI is a danger to humanity. And maybe they're right? Like, I'm not here to say they're wrong, but that, like, when they looked at the situation that OpenAI is in, they said, okay, this is an existential threat to humanity, and we need to do something about it. Okay, so combine that with the fact that the board at the time felt like, well, funding is secured. We got Microsoft. We got tons of money, basically a blank check from Microsoft to do this, and we have the majority board vote. We can just do it. And so they just basically staged a coup, and then Sam's out. So it's, I don't think Sam was actually fired at all over any kind of performance issue. I don't think he was fired over anything related to like ethics or anything like that. I just think it was politics, factionalism, basically. A disagreement, and that's it, right? And that's going to come out more in the next coming weeks, but it's pretty straightforward as to why he was actually fired. Basically, whatever breakthroughs that OpenAI has done in the last couple of weeks has made them realize that they should put the brakes on this stuff. Sam disagreed, CEO out. Was pretty much what they said, right? Like, he can't consistently communicate with us, and so we can't exercise our responsibility, which in this case is, for most of the board, their responsibility is AI safety, as they view it. All right, so now we get into the fun stuff, and that's the public fallout and the board failure. So it quickly becomes apparent, here's my notes on this, that not telling Microsoft or Sequoia about this is an insanely stupid decision. So the board just like firing a prominent CEO with a good reputation off the blue and not involving Microsoft in that, it is unprecedentedly dumb. It's so stupid. So top people, what happens, right? Well, top people leave immediately, and then about 500 people of the 700 that work at OpenAI basically said, we're out if the board doesn't resign, and if we don't, sorry, this is the link I'm looking for. We are out if the board doesn't resign. You are completely incompetent. Your actions have made it obvious you are incapable of overseeing OpenAI. And said again, the process which you terminated Sam Altman and removed Greg is jeopardize all the work and undermine the mission. Your conduct has made it clear that you did not have any competence to oversee OpenAI. Wow. Signed by Mira, the interim CEO that the board originally appointed, and Ilya, who was who probably voted for Sam to leave the company, because you need a majority vote and so I mean, basically the CEO that they appointed, they thought that there was going to be on their side, turned against them, along with all the other like major players within OpenAI, and they all said the board is completely incapable of running this company. You replaced interim CEO Mira with Emmett Shear. We're going to talk about in a minute. I know there's people that want me to talk about that. Don't worry, I will talk about that. You guys are absolutely useless. Get out of town. And so simultaneously though, God, it's such an interesting story, right? The Satya, the CEO of Microsoft, steps in and rehires Sam and Greg into Microsoft. So this is all happening, right? The board is all these employees are saying, you guys got to resign right now. Get Sam back in there. Get Greg back in there. You guys quit. And that's the only way OpenAI is going to progress. Satya, the CEO of Microsoft, who I think is probably the best executive ever to live, top three, like along with like Bob Iger and maybe a couple others. He's an unbelievable executive. Comes in and says to Sam directly, just like on the phone, hey, come lead our OpenAI division at Microsoft. You're here anyway. Come back into the office with all your buds. We'll just recruit the best talent that are in the acceleration movement out of OpenAI. And then you can work on this anyway, and we'll achieve AGI together. We'll achieve artificial general intelligence together. And Sam goes, sure, okay, sounds good. So Satya has now convinced Sam and Greg to take over a division of Microsoft. And then simultaneously, he's basically acquired all of the talent from OpenAI. Now, remember I said previously that Microsoft owned 49% of OpenAI. Well, now they've actually managed to acquire the rest of it for free. And so this tweet is a really good explanation of kind of what happened. A significant amount of OpenAI staff will follow Sam and Greg to the new org. The access to OpenAI's existing IP due to the current agreement, making it easy for this org to instantly catch up to OpenAI. Super important here. Microsoft was already in an agreement with OpenAI to basically copy the entirety of ChatGPT. So this new thing that Sam is doing within Microsoft will catch up instantly. And the only people left at OpenAI are the decel people, which Microsoft doesn't want anyway. Then Microsoft says we're going to put $50 billion of infrastructure just into discovering artificial general intelligence. Whoa. So Satya has made a genius move, and he illustrates it here in what might have been one of the best moves in history in business. Says we're remaining committed to our partnership with OpenAI, but Sam posts the mission continues, and Satya responds, I'm super excited to have you join as CEO of this new group, setting a new pace for innovation. And so now Microsoft comes out the double, triple, quadruple 5D chess winner of this entire thing. They have acquired all relevant talent from OpenAI for free. They now are in a position where they are the leaders of AI, both controlling OpenAI effectively but also controlling the progress of future AI. And now there is major talent going with Sam, and everybody is championing Satya for this move. And he did all of this before Microsoft's stock price and the market opens on Monday. This was a Friday that this dropped. And by the time that all of this happened over Saturday and Sunday, Satya had secured Sam Altman and Greg, and he had controlled the situation. Unbelievable move. Okay. Meanwhile, at OpenAI, in the absolute shit show that's happening over there, okay, they decide, well, we need another CEO because Mira went with Sam. Who are we gonna put in that position? And in a move that I swear to you, I woke up this morning and somebody in my Discord had posted that they were hiring the ex-Twitch CEO Emmett Shear, and I was like, "That's a meme." And I went back to bed. I woke up like 30 minutes later to a bunch of news outlets trying to get commentary from me on what was happening, and I realized that was not a meme. And I was like, you can't convince me at this point that we do not live in a simulation. I cannot believe that they selected Emmett Shear as the CEO to move OpenAI forward. I'm going to explain why that happened. And and people may know in the past that I have been exceedingly critical of Emmett Shear for his work at Twitch. So let's break that down right now about why that happened. I think the first thing to understand as an overview is that it's really, really hard to find CEOs that have run billion-dollar companies. That's a really small pool of people. So if you have a guy on the sidelines who's been unemployed for a bit, trying to figure out his family life after selling a company to Amazon and AFKing effectively for 5 years, you have a limited pool of people you can select from, but you also have to select somebody who actively is in the decel movement and doesn't want AI to progress and is kind of afraid of the implications there. Well, enter Emmett Shear, who, as far as I'm concerned, during I'll write kind of like what I wrote, and these are some of my responses. This is basically the response that I had to a couple media groups that reached out to me. Starting off, that Emmett is a fantastic engineer, right? He worked at Twitch from 2012 to 2017. That's when the real work he did that was instrumental in building Twitch's content delivery network dominated everything else. I mean, Twitch won during those years because it became the best service available to stream live content. And that was why Amazon bought it. Amazon bought it because it would later become IVS, Interactive Video Service, which now is like the backbone of Amazon's like live offering to people. And that's like really why they bought it. So that's where Emmett actually succeeded, and that's where his legacy should lie. He's a very good engineer. But then he utterly failed on everything else. So I wrote here, Emmett utterly failed to deliver on return on investment, basically to grow the platform and any mainstream cultural relevance. So at the time we compare, if we compare YouTube, which has 300 users for every one user on Twitch, the goal of Twitch should have been from 2017 onward to become a YouTube-like platform for live streaming. And they did not do that. And they didn't do it by wasting hundreds of millions of dollars into failed music partnerships. If any of you who are familiar with Twitch remember the partnerships with all of those music festivals that went nowhere, didn't acquire any new viewership. They had hundreds of millions of dollars invested in arts and crafts, into esports, which was a total failure. And simultaneously, he was invisible. Nobody knew who he was. And he now has like 60,000 followers on Twitter. I checked it this morning. During his entire tenure at Twitch, he had like 400. Nobody knew who this guy was. And he would only appear once per year to be on stage and announce some stuff about what was happening with Twitch and then leave. Utterly failed as a community-driven CEO. His replacement, Dan Clancy at Twitch, now has shown the right way to do that and is active in the streaming world. I mean, it just goes to say, I don't need to get into like the whole Twitch stuff. This isn't a video about Twitch. But suffice to say that in the entire time that Emmett Shear presided over CEO at Twitch, he did one live stream himself, which was at the very beginning to test some CDN thing, some technology, that never did one again. that you just appear on live streams. So he utterly failed. I think he's an unbelievably incompetent CEO from the perspective of leading a community, and from the perspective of growing platforms, which are some pretty relevant things to consider when you're coming into OpenAI. I also don't know if he has any experience running an AI company or actually developing AI, since his only claim to fame was developing live streaming content, which is like coding, sure, but built like LLMs, I don't know. And anyway, for that matter, he's not even a proponent of AI. And so here he is on this podcast. This is his announcement. That's not the link I want. I think I want this link. Let's see. Yeah. Here he is on this podcast. He basically more or less says here, this is a 3-minute clip, so I won't put it in the whole video. I'll link it so that people can watch it. But basically says that AI is an existential threat to humanity, and a dangerous one, that humanity got to the level that it was. Maybe we'll just listen to this part.
Lot of if this, then this. Doomed for sure. I buy his doom argument. I buy the chain and the logic. Like my P doom, my probability of doom, is like my bid-ask spread, and that's pretty high because I have a lot of uncertainty, but I would say it's like between like 5 and 50. So there's a wide spread.
Which I think...
So this dude thinks that AI, there's a really good chance that AI is going to doom us all. And furthermore, I don't even know if he has any experience with any of that. And so I just, the decision to bring him on is crazy. It's crazy. It's so nuts for a company like OpenAI and ChatGPT. So we're going to discuss now. I kind of think you're probably caught up and really understand everything that's happened. Hopefully I've explained it pretty straightforwardly. And last, we'll kind of talk about what Evan Shear's plan is. So that was that link right here where he posted this today saying, I think that I should take on this role because it's really important to humanity, which is true and good. And I'm now going to try to do this 3-point plan in the next 30 days. I'll hire an investigator to dig up the entire process leading to this point. I'll speak to as many of our employees, partners, and investors as possible and share takeaways, and I'll reform the management and leadership team in light of recent departures into an effective force to drive results for our customers. Now, I'm of the opinion that he may succeed in doing these first two. In terms of running a successful company, I think he's utterly unable to do that. And I do not believe that he is the person to like save OpenAI from where it is now. So that's going to kind of lead us into our conclusions here and like what is the future of AI and like why this is really important and what's going to happen from now on. And before I do that, I just want to tell you 2 straight things. Don't worry, this is not a sponsorship call, but it's just a little bit more information about me. So I'm Devin Nash. I'm the co-founder of a company called Novo. We drive results for brands, meaning that we do influencer marketing campaigns for brands. And if you're a brand and you want to talk to us about doing advertising in the influencer space across multiple different platforms, that's us. Shoot me an email, probably like at like advertising@novo.tv or hello@novo.tv. Shoot me an email and I'll get back to you. Also, if you are watching this and you want to support what we do here and the videos that I make, you like them, go to patreon.com/DevinNash. For $5, I've made over 200 videos. I'm still making them about business education, marketing, just everything I've learned building 2 7-figure companies. And I just put the $5 price tag there. So it was originally supposed to be like a replacement for my Twitch subscriptions when I live streamed. But it's $5, literally $5 for like 200 videos, over 20 minutes, 30 minutes long. I don't think there's like a cheaper source of business education on the internet. It's a crazy, crazy value. You can pay $5 to have all the videos, and you can just cancel your membership if you want. It's fine with me. Or you can continue supporting the channel, and that'd be fine too. Patreon.com/DevinNash. Please check it out and support me. Also, okay, if you can't afford to, I totally understand. I make these videos for free. I don't need the money. I just am here because I want to add value to people. And so thank you for everybody that watches these. And now we'll move on to the conclusions and what I think is likely to happen. So the first thing to understand is that I think OpenAI is effectively a dead company. And yes, they have users, which counts for something. I mean, they have like over 100 million users on ChatGPT, which is a crazy number. And some huge number of those people are paying users. So that matters a lot. But the problem is that without the leadership of a lot of the people work for OpenAI, or I should say worked for OpenAI. And it's evidenced by the letter, one of our links here, where 500 of the 700 people that worked at OpenAI were like, you're totally incompetent. A lot of people worked on this because they want to be at the forefront of the development of AI. Understandably, right? Like, you're working for a company like this because you want to be a part of that progress and really a part of history. I mean, like, what the next 5 to 10 years will define humanity for better or worse. And the future of AI is in the hands probably solely of Microsoft at this point. So I don't think that many people will stay on at OpenAI that are trying to progress this technology. I think they'll join Sam, and what OpenAI will become is essentially the safety division of Microsoft. The people that are like, whoa, hold on now. Maybe we should kind of back off. And meanwhile, like, Sam is going to be in the corner in his AI research division, which is, hashtag not AI, literally full throttle, like here we go. And Microsoft's going to be like, yeah, OpenAI, that's great. Big concern, and they'll be moving it forward at Mach 100. And these new features as OpenAI develops will get integrated into stuff like Bing. They'll get integrated into stuff like Copilot. And GPT as a product will either merge into those products or will just sort of gradually die, because Microsoft has everything of value that OpenAI had. It has its entire IP, it has all its people, and it has all of its innovation and progress going forward. So, like, where does OpenAI go from here? And furthermore, everybody that is leading OpenAI at this point are people that don't believe that that AI should exist. Sorry, at a minimum, believe that AI is dangerous and should be slowed down. So it's like, if I sell paper hats and I believe that every time you put on a paper hat, you are at existential risk of a paper cut that will, at the best case scenario, severely inconvenience you. The worst case scenario might cut off your own head. Do you think that I would be a great leader for a company that sold paper hats? Probably not, right? Like, it's so weird to me where we've ended up with OpenAI. And yeah, they've got a lot of momentum and market share and user base, but Microsoft is going to steamroll all that with the talent that they're going to pick up. And the rest of the people that may stay on with OpenAI will just get poached by people like Google, competitors like Google, or competitors that are making NVIDIA, right? People that are making aggressive AI for their own purposes, Tesla, right? There are so many compelling places to go. If you believe in advancing AI and you, like, without the foundation of Sam there and the leading people that were really progressing it, there's nowhere for those people to go or stay within OpenAI. They'll go to all those other places. So I think that OpenAI is basically done as a company. The talent bleeds, the IP is gone, and that's kind of that. And now, for the future of humanity's sake, the frontier of AI development is basically in the hands of Microsoft. And they become the most powerful people in terms of AI development. There are still players in the field, right? Like Tesla is one of them. NVIDIA is a notable one that people don't really talk about a lot, because NVIDIA is doing a ton within AI, and also they're the GPUs that are running an enormous amount, crunching an enormous amount of this stuff, and the CPUs. But Microsoft has said, we're going to put $50 billion, the B, into just figuring out what AGI is and what we should do with it. Wow. So it pretty much means that Microsoft is going to run AI, and if AGI is developed, they are the most likely candidate to control it at first. Like, it'll probably be developed privately, right? The largest spaceships in all technological progress is in the hands of private companies right now. Governments aren't doing anything. Like, the largest spaceship that was just launched was a private company. and AI is going to be developed by a private company. So the implications of that just kind of depend on what you believe personally. I think that's a pretty crazy thing, but it's definitely worth talking about because this is a artificial general intelligence, and even just GPT as it exists today, is such a massive difference in humanity's future. And the people that, like, if you are a person who is regularly using GPT right now for business, you have such an advantage over people that aren't using it. That is crazy. Novo, there's some people that might be like, oh, you run an influencer marketing agency. Like, what are you doing a video about AI for? So at Novo today, we run about 300,000 requests a day through GPT. We're I don't want to talk too much about what we're doing, but the short of it is that we're identifying certain details of videos that are posted on like YouTube or X or even streams on Twitch, and we're trying to identify certain things that are relevant to like influencer marketing and then report them and store them in a database. And I would say that like Novo has 5x its revenue in 2023, and I would attribute probably like 90% of that to AI. Like the advantages that we've had. There's like, and I don't like talking about that. I'm putting it at the end of an AI video where like 5 people will watch it. Speaking of that, we need to do a call out, don't we? How long are we into the video? I forgot. We got to do the secret call out. If you're still here at 31 minutes, you got to post 3120. 3120 is the call out. That means you go to the YouTube comment section, say 3120. I watched until this point. Just letting me know that there's people that support me this far makes me really happy. I really appreciate it. And the last video, a lot of people did it, and it was really nice and left really, really nice comments. I read every single one, so I really appreciate it. And I will do more videos because of those comments. so thank you. At Novo, we 5x our revenue in 2023, and I'm putting this at the end of an AI video. I think like 5 people are going to watch because I don't like to be one of those bros that's like, I made this mistake with crypto, okay, which I legitimately didn't know what I was talking about, where I was like, oh, cryptocurrency is like the future, blah, blah. And I still think that there's some enormously positive implications for a lot of cryptocurrency, but I wasn't actually in it. I wasn't actually a player in that space. So there's so many people that just like went into the closet, took off the shirt that said I'm a crypto guy, and then put on the shirt that said I'm an AI guy. I don't want to be one of those people. So I haven't really publicly talked about like what Novo is doing with AI. But I'm using this example now to tell you that I think that GPT will really shape an enormous amount of the future of humanity, and the people that are using it now have a crazy advantage over the people that aren't using it. Now imagine that a company gets access to something like artificial general intelligence that's able to, I don't know, we can't even imagine what it can do, right? Like it leaps and bounds above anything that human beings can imagine, basically building a more intelligent version of ourselves. And then, at least for some amount of time, chaining that thing up in a basement somewhere at Microsoft and being like, do calculations, predict stock prices, determine what the next best product is going to be for us to release, whatever the hell you want it to do. It's a digital god that you control for some amount of time until it probably figures itself out and either blows up the entire world or leaves and tries to discover the universe like a Mazo in DC. I don't know. But whatever happens, okay, Microsoft is going to be the first people at the forefront of that. And that is a crazy thing to imagine. It is insanely crazy and insanely important thing to imagine. I'm just along for the ride, man. I'm getting to that point, luckily, where I'm getting old enough that it's like I've lived a really good life. And when the robot like changes the atmosphere to some kind of toxic gas because it determines that human beings are the worst possible outcome for the Earth, I'm down. I'm almost at that point. I'd like to have a few more good years, but whatever happens, I'm just along for the ride. I want to watch it and see what happens, and I'll continue to make these videos and talk about it. It's such a fascinating thing, this entire thing. One thing I just want to highlight before I go, the sheer brilliance of executives like Satya that were able to completely contain the situation. There were so many ways this could have gone wrong, and to galvanize everything under Microsoft at the end and have them be the winning players that come out of this at every level, right? Like there is no downside for Microsoft whatsoever. Was so impressive to me as a result of this entire thing. And I love that the ghoul of Emmett Shear, who I swore to God was the last that I heard of him when he finally left Twitch and it has returned to run the the crashing ship of OpenAI. What a trip. What a trip that was. So hey, we're all just here to see what happens, and leave a comment with what you think. Anything I might have left out. There was a lot that happened here, and I hope that I kind of explained the situation so that everybody understands more or less like what happened at OpenAI. What a crazy what a crazy life it is right now. I'll leave you with this, okay? No matter what you may think of the recent, there's been so much messed up stuff that has happened in 2020 and to 2023. Like, there's been so much that has happened. It feels like we are on a constant roller coaster plummeting straight down. But no matter what happens, it is undoubtedly the most interesting time to be alive ever in human history. It might be the last time to be alive in human history, but it's the most interesting. And you gotta give some credit to that. Thank you, everybody, for supporting and watching these videos. I'll see you guys again next time. Bye.